Blood. And God was showing that without the shedding of blood, there is. In other words, all life in the flesh is in the. And if you don't get rid of that blood life that you got, if you're not, you haven't yet resisted sin unto blood, that is the loss of your own life in the flesh. But if you don't resist sin unto blood, you're not going to be ready when Jesus gets here. Your life has got to be totally poured out for His to be totally poured in. It will not be a mixture. God hates a mixture. It won't be me and Him. It'll be no longer me but Him. I like what somebody said about this one time. I read it somewhere. It's a little testimony of a person. They said, before I met the Lord, it was I and not Christ. And then I met the Lord and it became I and Christ. And then I started walking with Him down the road and it became Christ and I. And then I walked further and it became no longer I, but Christ. Our God is a consuming fire. Hey, did you know you're the biggest problem you got? You know if you no longer lived, your problems would be all gone. People around you is not your problem. Even people outside of you is not your enemies. We heard it in this convention. Your enemy is on thee. And it's your flesh. If you want to win a war, get the enemy on the inside. It's called the fifth column. You can do more damage from the inside than you can from the outside. That's why they have to go take territories inside where they are. You got to get in there, possess that land. Drive that enemy out. Well, you don't drive them out from the outside. You got to get inside where they are. You got to go right into the territory where they are. Because that's the land you need to occupy. That's the land the Lord has to occupy in us. He wants truth on the inside. Got to occupy that land. So he's going to take you on the inside before He's going to reveal Himself on the outside. Now, I got you open to the Bible in Hebrews. If you did that, and we're in chapter 2. I want to close this up so I make room for somebody else here. But I really had this as a burden on my heart this morning to share with you, because we're going to get this right, saint. This is not going to be a matter of religion, practice of religion. It's not going to be a matter of gift, who's got the gift. It's going to be an exchange that only you can do personally with God. Where you, and you know, I would really like the program better if I could just do it today and it's done. Yeah. But I got to do it daily. It's like a marriage again. You know, that's why God likens it to marriage. Because when I stand at the altar, I did it in a day, in a moment of time. But ever since that time, I've had to keep the vow I made there. I have to renew that every day, lest I think, well, I made a mistake. And I'll go look for another one. And make another mistake. How many people have you seen go from one to another to another to another and never find? Well, that's where we all are. We're all seeking but never, until you get a hold of Him. But you can't get a hold of Him. He's got to get a hold of you. He will not commit Himself to you. You've got to commit yourself to Him. He's not going to teach you you're the head and He's the body. He's going to make it very clear, we're the body, He's the head. If you look at who's in the first resurrection, nobody's got their own head. Is that right? Not one of them have their own head. Because to get in this program, it requires a whole new head. You become transformed by the whole renewing of your mind, because your whole mindset has been on gain, 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 get. Not lose, lose, lose. So when you get into this program, you get into a program that hides you. Nobody looking upon it would ever suspect this is the real thing. So you look on the internet, you'll find no good thing is spoken about the real thing. Was there any good thing spoken about Jesus? Did any of the rulers believe on it? No. Why is somebody... Hey, how did he become so popular today? I can tell you why he's so popular today. Not the same Jesus. It's not the same Jesus. It's another whole Jesus that's been invented by man. Is man doing the same thing he did in the beginning. He changed the glory of the uncorruptible God into an image made like unto man and begin to worship the creature rather than the... That's right where we are today. You see, in the beginning declares the end. And that's where the mass of people out there in religion, that's right where they are. God is in heaven to serve me. It doesn't cost me anything to have a relationship with that. I gain by having a relationship with God. They count gain as what? So like you heard Brother Joe in his word, that minister was saying, it's not the love of money that's the root of all evil. It's the lack of money that's the root of all evil. That's the orientation. Does God want you to be rich? Yes. But what does he want you to be first? Poor. Why? So it could be seen, and this is to the glory of God, that you're not coming to get something from him for your benefit. This is what the devil said about Job. Does Job love you for naught? Look how you've blessed him. Let me take all that blessing away and he'll curse you to your face. Well, do you think that's just going to be the trial of Job? Or do you think Job is an example that we're going to find ourselves in if we also endure to the end? So, let me tell you, anything that's this valuable costs. It's the greatest price that one can pay. A man will give all that he has for life. Because what good is all these things if you don't have life? Come on, saints, let's wake up. What a privilege we're in. Oh my God. What a blessing we're in, folks. You got to realize it. This opportunity will only come once in eternity. To be the first fruits of his creatures, to put our trust in him. Well, here's why the warning comes in Hebrews. Look what it says. Therefore, chapter 2, verse 1. We ought to give what? What should we ought to do? Well, have you got other priorities in your life, or is this number one? Therefore, we ought to give the more earnest heed to the things which we have heard, lest at any time we let them what? If they were secure, how could they slip? Who would want you to believe they can't slip? Once saved, can't slip. Who would want you to believe that? Well, so you wouldn't have to be concerned about giving it top priority. And you would end up neglecting this so great salvation. You wouldn't be working it out. Because notice what it goes to say. It says this, lest at any time we give more earnest heed to the things which we have heard, lest at any time we let them what? Slip. Can you let them slip right out of your hand? Yeah, you bet. And it says, for if the word spoken by angels was steadfast. Now we're talking about the law here. The law was handed out through the ministration of angels to Moses. It says, for if the word spoken by angels was steadfast, and every transgression and every disobedience received a just recompense of reward. So there's two kinds of rewards here. There's a reward for well-doing, and there's a reward for evil-doing. I'd like to say this about rewards, because in the Baptist doctrinal teaching, they say what's at stake here, what you can lose is your reward, not your salvation. Now, I just want to put a little light on that. I'll guarantee you today you cannot lose your reward. What you can lose is your salvation. Because salvation is something you got to work out. You got a reward coming no matter which way you go. Yeah, it is. You look at it. Unto them who patient continues in well-doing is going to receive glory, honor, and immortality. But to the rebellious and the disobedience is going to be what? Tribulation, anguish upon every soul. Everybody gets their reward. Jesus is coming to reward every man according to his work. Don't worry, you can't lose your reward, but you should be concerned about what it's going to consist of. You cannot lose your reward, but I guarantee you better be concerned about what it's going to consist of. Read about it in Romans 2. It's laid out right clear what the reward is going and coming.